Ooh, that looks tasty.
Welcome, folks. Jay the Hungry Gamer is back with another episode of Boards and Brews, and today I am joined again by occasional regular co-host Original Don. Before we get started, Don,
Hmm.
what's your brewed beverage tonight?
Ah, well, I am drinking from our future sponsor, your future sponsor, Fort Point Beer Company. Sfizio. It's an Italian style pilsner. Very
Well,
good.
that's pretty good because since it's actually nighttime, I too am drinking
Yes,
from my future sponsor, Fort Point. Oh, let me get that so you can see it. I'm drinking a Westphalia Nuremberg-inspired red ale.
that's a
Fort
good one.
Point.
I like that one.
Fort Point. Come on, send us some beer. I hope that did that sound desperate.
Hmm.
No,
Sounded
yeah, okay.
respectful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, 4 Point. We're not even desperate yet. All right, just send us some beer. Anyhow, so what we're going to be talking about today, everybody, is we're going to be talking about DundraCon 47. 47, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just put out a video about my top games of the con. And oddly enough, what I talk about today is going to be a little bit different because, it's been a couple days and I changed my mind. I'm very fickle like that. I'm like the wind. But so what we're going to do is we're going to go through and talk about our top 3, I'm going to call them moments. Could be a game, could be something else, could be something published, something not published, whatever. Then we're going to talk about. So let me be clear. So now that original Don and I are getting older, we're getting grumpier. And let me tell
Sure.
you, we were grumpy about some con behavior. So we're going to talk about bad con behavior so you can learn. The 8 of you that are listening can learn what not to do at a con, or you'll draw the ire of original Don.
There's a million. I was thinking about this. There's a million great tips for having fun at a con list. There are very few what not to do at a con list.
Yeah. Well,
And
we'll get there, but they should be simple. It should be simple,
yeah,
but apparently it's not. All right. So, yeah, so we'll just jump right in. Don, do you want to go first? Do you want to go second on your first moment from the con you want to talk about?
you go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to start with the one that you didn't know. I just changed to this, but as I was thinking about it, it truly is one of the things I remember most about the con. And that is your kids. Your
Mhm.
kids delighted me so much at the convention because for anyone who doesn't know, Don has children, and they tend to be pretty quiet and reserved. And I had
Mhm.
dinner with Don and his kids one night, and they just went on and on and on about all the fun that they were having and what they were doing. And I told Don later that one of his kids, I literally heard him speak more at the table than I've heard him speak in what 4 years. I It was amazing. It was I came home, it was like the only thing I told my wife about when I came home. I was like, "That was so cool." So that's my number 3 moment of the con is it brought all the kids together and they were all seemed like they were just having a blast the whole time, and that made me happy.
Yeah, you've got to catch him right as he's coming out of an 8-hour role playing game session, and he has a lot to talk about. He does love his games,
So,
and he will take you through every moment of it if you let him.
and I was inclined to do it because there's something about young people being excited about something, which I
Yeah,
enjoyed. I enjoyed. So that's my number 3.
you
Now
know,
that you have no
I'll
chance of being father of the year, because I jumped in and said I was proud of your kids. What do you got?
uh, I'll make my bid. I'll steal from that theme. So my kids and I have been going to DundraCon since 2016, and we love it. It's our first con ever, and it's kind of the hometown con. It used to be in the town where I live. Now it's not too far away. Uh, this is the first year that 2 of the kids came with both of their partners. It's kind of a fun stage in parenthood to be at when your kids are all old enough, they all have serious partners, and they wanna go everywhere with each other, and it was a lot of fun. We were kinda crammed into a hotel room, but,
My
it was just a
understanding is it
blast,
was
and
the
one of
people,
them was
you
there.
had one bed and everyone was just sleeping, head to foot, kind of piled on top of
No,
each
no,
other,
just all sideways,
just
hanging
all
off the
sideways.
edges. Yeah. No, it was just a lot of fun. One of them was there for the first time, and they're a very, quiet, shy overused word, but shy kid, and just had a blast.
It
Got played in
also,
two long
I'd
RPG
never
games,
heard them speak, period. Um,
and it's funny when they get animated.
yeah, so that was cool. So, good job, DundraCon. Yay, games.
Well done.
Alright, so now my next 2 are specifically game related. So my number 2 is our game that we played of Tesseract, and we played it
Mm,
with, Max, who is in part of my, occasional regular dungeon crawl group, and this is from Smirk and Dagger Games, and both you and I actually have it. And it
mhm.
is a crisis management game where you have this cube of dice on a lazy Susan, and you're taking actions and pulling the dice off of the cube, and you're trying to get them to be the right numbers. And when you have the right numbers in your lab situation, then you can send the dice off to the place where they're going to save the world. And it's a fairly simple game, but we turned it up to, I think, the second highest difficulty level. I think I don't think we were
It's
top
level
level.
7 of 8.
7 of 8, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was the tensest, most delightfully stressful game I played all weekend because at first we just, oh, this is terrible. This is just, oh, we're getting smashed. Oh, we never should have
Mhm.
done this. And then we got a glimmer of hope, and it looked like we were going to squeak through. And then the game just crapped all over us and ended it.
Yeah. It
It
is
was great.
amazing how yeah, it's amazing how quickly that game accelerates. Like, you get in, you're like, "Oh, I" and, you're taking dice off a cube of dice. Like, they're all stacked in a cube, and when they get to the bottom and uncover a surface square, something bad happens, and you think, "Okay, we've got a few rounds before that happens," and probably, like, the first round, maybe the second, you're there and bad stuff's happening. It's just it accelerates, and then yeah, you're right, it comes back and gives you hope, and then, yeah. I'm glad we didn't win the first time on a high level. You
Yeah.
never wanna win the first time on a cooperative game,
Yeah.
at
And I
least not
mean,
at that level.
because we played once before, and
Mhm,
we won comfortably. And I
mhm.
was it was on like level 1 or level 2,
Yeah,
and I was feeling pretty good about myself. I was like, Max is a smart guy. We got this. Nope,
mhm.
nope. Yeah, it's a
So,
really cool
yeah,
game, and I keep saying it. I keep putting it out in the world to where maybe someday I'll wind up with a set of these. I really want those metal dice, but I really don't want those metal dice. Like I
I'm with you.
really don't want them, but I really, really want them, and I don't know how to reconcile that in my soul.
I hear you. I'm in the same place.
All right, so that was my number 2. How about you? What's your number 2?
I'm gonna go with our play of Castles of Burgundy. So we played, late Sunday night, and this
Hey, I
is
think
the
we started at like
fancy
11:30 PM.
yeah, it was great. So we started, or this was the fancy new updated version, which I backed.
I mean, almost
I
fancy, almost.
almost yeah, so I have some self-control. I did not get the ridiculous version with all minis, where you have to draw the tile out of the bag and then go find the mini that matches it and put the mini on your board. I couldn't handle that kind of upkeep, as much as I wanted those little animal miniatures. So anyway, that's the fancy version with the acrylic tiles, of course, and we played the Vineyard expansion for the first time, and it was just such a chill experience. It was me, you, and, your brother Steve and Skippy Brown, world famous designer of Luna Rush.
Skipperino. Skippy
Yeah,
McSkips a lot.
and like you said in your other video, we've played a dozen or 2 games on Board Game Arena, and we had never played together in person, and neither of you had played in meat space, as you put it, and, that was fun. We found an actual quiet room. I mean, it was 11:30 at night, but there were lots of people crammed into the big room on one side of the hall and almost no one in the room on the other side, and so it was very quiet and calm and peaceful, and, I just loved it. We weren't in a hurry. We just kinda played through, talked, figured out the expansion. It was great.
And I learned I didn't know how to play the game, which was just
It was a lot of fun.
so stupid. Just like I was like, why did that happen? Oh, oh that just makes a lot of sense. So that was neat. And I do wonder. I
Yeah.
really want to play with the vineyards again.
Mhm.
because I wonder if it is possible to win the game without doing significant vineyard work, or if you have to go vineyarding if you have the vineyard.
That's a good question. We definitely did not optimize the expansion.
Yeah, so
No,
so do
I
you and Skippy did it, and I didn't
mhm,
do it barely at all, and
yeah,
I was ahead, and then we got to vineyard time, and I was way behind. So
yeah,
I wonder.
it's
I'm not prepared to say that yes, you have to vineyard if the vineyard's there, but I wonder.
yeah, and for those that don't know, I mean, the vineyard is an extra board that latches onto your board, and you have these double hex tiles that take up 2 spaces in your storage, and then you get them in the vineyard, and there are multipliers at the end of the game, and so it can surprise you with a big boost at the end.
Yeah, so I'm curious, but yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I definitely am looking forward to playing that one again.
Yeah,
As beige as that game is. All right, so
it's not so beige anymore.
it's not. It's very brightly not beige. And so my last one was the biggest surprise to me because I had forgotten about this game. So it was sent to me. And I was supposed to cover it back in November or December, and the app portion just wasn't done. And
Hmm,
then maybe 10 days ago, I got an email, hey, the app's ready. And I was like, oh, okay, get to it whenever. And that is Lightspeed Arena. And the last morning of the last half day, as I was walking, I was grabbing something out of my game room. I was, oh, yeah, that game. I just threw it in the bag. I was like,
mm,
maybe we'll have time. It's 15 minutes. And this is an update of a Tom Jolly and James Ernst game from 2003.
you know,
And the core of the game is you have these little ships that have little laser beams shooting out of them, and you have 10 seconds to put down your tile with the lasers shooting at the other player's stuff. And then you put down your 8 ships, and then you see what the lasers hit. It's just drawing a line down what did it hit and what gets blown up, and you get points for blowing stuff up. And my understanding is the original game, it was 3 minutes of chaotic placing of tiles and 27
yep,
minutes of trying to figure out what blew up.
at
Which,
least
yeah,
it's gotta be.
it just so many fights had to happen
Mhm,
too. And so there's an app now that has a timer in there for you. And then you take a picture of the table and it uploads it, it scans it, and it'll tell you who won. But it also animates these little shooting lasers all over the place, and you makes you tap on the screen to pick up your stuff that you hit. And it's taken this what I guess was a 30-minute game into literally a 5-minute experience. And we played not just you and I, but just in general, like 8 to 10 times on that last day. It
at least.
it's so much stupid fun. I love it with every fiber of my being to the point that now I'm like, I wonder how far away I can get with the camera. Like, how long can it still read what's going on? Because it seems like you could play in a 10-foot by 10-foot area if you wanted, as long as your camera lens is good enough, which I just find I'm so it's coming to Kickstarter, everybody. Like you just have to buy it. It's insane. It's amazing. I love every second of it.
Yeah, I really wanna play it at home and share the phone screen to a big TV, watch the battle take place because 'cause we're all gathered around Will's phone, staring at this little screen, and we were, um, just focused on it, like, "What's gonna happen?" And it's exciting to watch, it's amazing.
Yeah, and this
So,
is
yeah, that
highs and lows. Like when suddenly your ship misses with all three of its lasers, and it's just devastating. Or you mess up and you shoot yourself. It's just what an amazing little game. I haven't had that much fun with a real time game since I first got Kushi Express.
and that's high praise from Will. Loves Kushi Express, orders it from Korea anytime he can to give to people,
I
sell to
know.
people, whatever.
I've ordered 3 cases of that thing, and you know how many I have
Mhm.
left? None. They're all gone.
Do you know how many you've gotten for me?
3?
None.
What? You don't have one?
They stopped sending them to you just when you were gonna order the next case, and we were gonna get one. It's okay,
Uh,
I'm terrible at it, but my son is a savant.
it is apparently now available in Canada.
Oh,
Yeah,
we'll have to look
I
that
think
up.
Board Game Bliss or something has it. I don't know. I made a post about it on the
Oh,
find me again
I
on
don't
the Facebook
follow
page.
you anymore. It's fine.
Oh, whatever. So
You're
you
kidding.
missed your chance.
Uh,
All right. So what's
so
your
the
number one?
fun part of I was gonna say the fun part of that story, is we were about to sit down and play a game that said 90 minutes on the box, and we didn't know how to play it, and we decided we were just too brain dead to play that, and this could not have been the more perfect replacement for how brain dead we were, you know, Monday morning of a con. So what's my number one? I'm gonna go with a couple of prototypes that I played. We played a couple of trick takers back to back, and trick takers are all the rage these days. So uh, these games being in prototype form might be just in time to miss the wave. I don't know. It's hard to
Okay.
time these things, but they were unique. One was a little more traditional trick taker style. Though it had, and I have no idea what the name of it is, but it's coming. It's being developed from by Dead Alive Games, publishers of the world famous Lunar Rush, and it
And
just
of
had.
creator of Mr. LP Mooney just over your head there.
That's right. Um, so it had a unique little twist that you're bidding on kind of what symbols you're going to collect, and then each card has two symbols, and you gain points for the ones you collect, match, and you lose points for getting other symbols. And it's a fun little puzzle. I was terrible at it, but I'm kind of looking forward to playing that again. I did beg Bernie from Better Life Games for a copy so I could take it to Dice Tower West and play it with some
Yeah, I think the game's called
trick taking.
Bernie Turns Tricks, maybe?
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know a couple of trick taking connoisseurs who are going to be at Dice Tower West, and so I'm excited to show it to them and see what they think. The other is by world famous designer Stephen Skippy Brown, who designed Lunar Rush and three other games that he had at DundraCon. And one of them is called Fantasy Trick. And it's a cool little trick taking game where you're playing tricks to try to collect or recruit NPCs to your party. So you're trying to build up a party. And if you lose a trick, you get money for the cards that you played. So you can kind of push the trick to more and more cards just so you get more money if you lose it, or you can be trying to win that NPC and spend all your best cards. And then you go into a little dungeon crawl, which is just a grid of cards laid out, and then you play against a final boss. And you're using kind of the strength that you built up to go after that final boss. It's kind of a fun little twist on trick taking. And so he's going to send me the files to print a copy of that, and I'm going to take that to Dice Tower West as well.
And my claim to fame
I
on
like
that
it.
is the, little grid dungeon crawl.
Hmm.
This guy,
Very clever. I
because
think
he
he said
had
he was going to take that out.
yeah, probably. But we were he had me test it, and the first thing I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Where's the dungeon?" He's like, "What do you mean, where's the dungeon?" I was like, "Where's the dungeon? There's no dungeon.
Yeah.
I'm bored. Let me go through a dungeon. Put some cards out there so I can go through a dungeon." He's like, "Well, how am I gonna do that?" I was like, "That's your problem, buddy. Put out a grid. I want to go in the dungeon." And so
And it works. No, it was a great suggestion. It works. Um, it's kind of fun because you go through and you have to go through four cards and you can change direction and there are little tricks you can get to peek at cards and decide which way you're going to go. But those cards, if you haven't set up just the right party, will knock your strength down a bit, and then you have less to go up against the boss with. Oh, and fighting the boss is sort of like playing blackjack. You say hit me, and you go to the next room, and you say hit me, you go to the next room, and you're trying to get as far as possible to get as much treasure as possible without going over your strength level.
yeah.
So that part was fun. It's a fun, couple of different game mechanics put together in a light trick taking game. I enjoy it.
And my understanding is you were getting into it enough that you were angry at your NPCs.
Oh yeah, that was a bit of feedback I gave. Like you play through 3 rounds, and at the end of every round, everybody in your party leaves, and you start over. And that was disheartening. I felt like a bad party leader. You're left with a couple of bits of equipment that you collected from the previous round. So you have that little bit you carry over, but it's like, I've got a battle axe. The fighter who carries it quit. And
Oh, be a
I
better
don't know.
leader.
I know. I got to work on that. But it
Yeah,
was
well,
fun. I'm anxious to see what he does with it next.
he told me he was leaning on towards just kind of changing the theming around it to where it's it's like each one's like a campaign.
Mhm.
That's your whole like campaign because but I'm told that you were at the table saying, "Why is my ranger ungrateful? That ungrateful bastard." So,
I
which
had feelings.
yeah, Don has one feeling, everybody. And when it comes out at the card ranger. That bastard.
Mhm.
All right. So before we jump into the end of this, of course, this is a time for the sponsor bump, which is where I say it's not a sponsor bump. I don't have a sponsor. You know why I don't have a sponsor, Don? Because Fort Point hasn't given us a sponsorship yet. This is why I talk about the membership bump. Everybody, consider becoming a channel member. It's great. You'll love it,
It's
or
great.
you
It's
won't.
awesome.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about bad con behaviors. Now, I have a feeling that many of ours are going to overlap.
For
I
sure.
also have a feeling that you have a lot more than I do. That's
I don't know
that is
about a
my
lot.
that's my guess. That's my guess. So I'm gonna let you go first with what is your first bit of come on, people, don't do this at a convention. What's your first one?
Okay, first of all, we're not gonna talk about showering. Every what to do at a con list is like, make sure you shower, and I always find that uncreative, and also, you know, if you're like a well-developed, neurotypical person who has all your stuff together, congratulations, you're the one, but people are different, don't make judgments.
And
That's
you
what
know,
I'll say there.
I'm even go some further and say I didn't smell any bad smelling people. I, I didn't smell it, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't have to
There
say it.
there there's often 1 or 2, but you don't know their world, so
Yeah,
anyway,
there's one or two everywhere, right?
yeah,
You know
for
what? If
sure.
you're looking around and you're like nobody smells, it's probably you.
You're in a boring place
Yeah.
is what it means. Uh, oh, anyway, I'm gonna go with one that's definitely an overlap, but, just being completely unself-aware, whatever the right term is there, of how you're affecting people around you, and this goes to something that you touched on in your other video. We were playing a game for about 2.5 hours at a table, and there was a group of 5 people sitting next to us, and 2 of the guys at that table were laughing explosively every 5 to 7 minutes for 2.5 hours. And it's just a completely clueless, "How could I possibly be disturbing anybody? I'm having fun," kind of behavior, and just, be respectful of other people's space.
And I mean, everyone, it's not, you're imagining people just laughing and having a good time.
Mhm.
It, the decibel level in the hallway went up by like 12. I mean, it
Yeah,
was shockingly loud. And you don't get to the age of these people who are, I don't know, 30s maybe. You don't get
yeah.
to be that old and not know that you have an incredibly loud laugh. Like, you don't manage yourself, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Though we did have the fun that every now and then I'd walk by and I would, or not by them specifically, but I would walk somewhere and I just laugh real loud. That was fun. But
For
of
the rest
course,
of the con.
I would do it once. I wouldn't do it again in 3 minutes.
Yeah, it at least became a joke between us for the rest of the con, and that's always fun, but it was kind of a miserable couple hours.
Yeah, and it's a shame. And like I said, it brought down that game experience for me because
Mhm.
because to the credit of the game, those Aos Island of Angels, I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it. I'm definitely going to keep it now. I really want to play again. So
Yeah.
it, but it definitely brought that down. So the one I'm going to talk about is when, now this is not just a con. This is life, people. This is in the mall. Who goes to a mall? Anywhere you are walking. If you
Oh,
have
man.
5 of you, move over. Right? Just move. Don't, the slow walkers. Now, some people have to walk slow. Like that is their physical capabilities. I don't get upset with that. I don't get upset when someone's walking and like they stop for a second, which you try not to do, but they stop because, oh wait, was I supposed to go here, or they're checking for the message or someone there. I'm not talking about that. I mean the people that just line up all the way across and just mosey their asses down the way. It's not like I have somewhere important to be. I'm just going to go sit down and play a board game, but I just want to get there and sit down and play my board game. Harumph.
and it's the walking. This is the Grumpy Old Man podcast. Thank you for listening. It's just it puts you in the road rage version of walking, or the
Yes,
walking
that's
version
it.
of road rage, and it's just like it's irrational, but it's just infuriating. I had this on my list, and it's at the end, and this was gonna be this is probably just me, and then you brought it up. Just ambling with no clue that you're looking the whole world. We had a weird experience. You weren't at this game, but when we were playing Wormspan, which every 30 seconds somebody stopped and told their friend what game it was next to us, and that's fine. It's the
I
new
really appreciate
hotness.
that when you said that you really hit that worm hard, the worm span. I like that.
We just call it worms for short
Ooh.
around here.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Look out, Don's
no,
playing with his
that
worms,
is
everybody.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so that was fine. Like fully expected that we're in the hallway. It's a high traffic hallway. Everybody's stopping to comment on it, but this guy stopped at one point. And he's like, "So where are you in the game?" I was like, "That's an odd question." I'm like, we're about halfway. And he goes, "Womp womp." And we're like, "Okay." We're all kind of like wondering what this is about. And then he's like, "Are you going to run it again?" And we said, "Oh, probably not." He's like, "Oh, okay," and walked away. And about 10 minutes go by, and we're playing the game, and I turned to everybody like, I really wasn't sure where that guy was going, but he wanted to join the game. Yeah, but it was just the strangest thing. And I don't know. I told my kids we were doing this topic tonight, and I said, "Do you have any bad con behaviors?" And Adrian just said, "Don't say womp womp to people."
Well,
But
I
it's just
I
the
can
weirdest thing.
I'm gonna expand upon it to something that might be actionable, right? That might be
Yeah,
actionable for people.
thank you, because
So,
this is a very specific moment.
yeah, so it's not so much the womp womp.
Mhm.
It's not even that he was like, "Oh, well, like, where are you in the game?" Because like, you're really excited, "Oh, like, what point's going
Yeah,
on?" Nor is it the he was hoping that you would run the game again. All of
yeah,
that is fine. It is the just say what you mean, right? Just come up and say, "You know what? Are you almost done? Yeah. Can we play again or can I jump in now?" But
mhm.
the way you described it, the whoop whoop and just stood there and waited, whoop whoop and did it again, is just
It was
strange.
odd. It was just odd.
It's hilarious. I love it. And I wish I'd been there because I probably would have been like, "Womp womp's right, man. What's up?" But it's just a weird moment. So I think the bad com behavior is expecting people to understand your inside jokes. Because I bet you, with his group, if they do that, they're like, oh, you want to get in? Yeah, no, we can't.
Mhm.
Or so expecting other people to understand your inside communication. That's the bad com behavior, I think.
Yeah. Oh, the best part, there were 5 of us sitting there playing that game. I don't know how he was gonna jump in, even if we were in the middle of setting up, but the full player count. It's just an odd moment.
The boy, we sound so grumpy right now. So the next one I want to say, 'cause I'm gonna leave the big one for you at the end. And this one I think is more of a commentary on one of my shortfalls as a gamer at conventions.
Oh, I have one of those too.
I get very concerned when I bring a game out and I teach a game. I really want the people to at least enjoy it. Maybe not love
Mhm.
it. Maybe they don't even particularly like it, but it was interesting. And if people aren't enjoying it at all, I feel terrible. I feel like just I have failed everybody, and I can't. And that is me. I'm very much energy. People's energies really affects me, and I know that's me.
Mhm.
That's one of my issues in life. However, the bad com behavior is, I think, if you're not enjoying a game and you're just like, stop. Like, just
Yeah.
stop. Just say, this. I am not having a good time with this. Or say at the beginning, you know what? I don't want to do this, or I don't want to be involved with this. Or at the very least, if you're just full of criticism and things you don't like about it, just zip it
Mhm.
and talk about it at the end of the game. So
Yeah.
that is very much a me thing. And I'll say, and I say the ability just to say stop led to me playing board games completely. because I was at it with Max. We were doing an RPG and we were doing this Star Trek RPG thing. He really wanted to try. I was like, okay. And it was just that he let 8 more people join the game, and it was just so boring.
Oh,
It was so boring for me. Finally, I was like, "Hey, man, are you gonna be upset if I just like take off? This is not for me." And he was like, "No, no, it's fine. Who are you?" Like it was one of those things. So I was like, okay. And I went down. I played King of Tokyo and Galaxy Defenders and Cthulhu Wars and all these games before the game was even over. So whatever. But I was like, you know what? Just stop. And then someone else got to have more spotlight. So that's my bad behavior. Just be upfront.
it's one of the things I like about Protospiel. You're playing somebody's prototype that odds are is broken, and the good designers, most of the designers will be like, "Hey, we're gonna try this. If you're just done at any time, we can stop and you can tell me what you think if it's not working." And you could, and I've seen plenty of people say, "You know what? I think I'm ready to give you feedback." When like they're not enjoying the game or they feel like they've experienced enough of a game that's clearly going to go on for a while. So you have a lot of license to do that in that room, which is one of the things I really like. There's less there's less of a permission structure around that with published games. Like you're expected to finish it. You don't want to ruin somebody else's time by killing the game halfway through. But still, if nobody's having fun, just say, "Hey, want to play something else?" So that's a good one. The one that I had along those same lines is just coming not prepared to teach, and this was my sin. I was dying to play Claw at this game, which is a fantastic 2010 Euro from some French designers who I won't try to list off their name. It's Xavier Georges, Sebastien Dujardin, and I don't recall the third designer's name, but
Jacques
um,
Cousteau, Jean-Luc Picard.
sure, sure, one of those. It was one of those two guys. Um, anyway, I love this game, but I had not played it in a few years, and I meant to get up early on Saturday morning, review the game, be ready to teach, and I overslept. And when I showed up, I should have just said, "You know what? Let's do something else because I'm not prepared to teach this game." And I am very aware it's difficult to teach.
Well, and so
And
I'd also
so,
like to point out that I was in
yeah.
that game, and you know what game did not make the list at all?
Oh no, I didn't notice.
Yeah, no, it wasn't on there because I didn't. I played half of
You
it.
didn't
I was like,
finish it.
I gotta
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So Will had an appointment that I made him late for because of that, or he had to leave because we weren't there yet. I will say, halfway through the game, we were having a lot of fun, and the other 2 guys finished the game with me, and we enjoyed it. It was a rough start,
Yeah,
and
it was about
could have
around the time
pivoted
that
and said, "I'll review later."
around the time that I left. Maybe I don't know 3 actions before that. I was like, okay, I get this. I'm enjoying this. But yeah, yeah, fair enough. And so I think we just have one more. I think, unless you have
Yeah.
more than one more. And I'm gonna let
No,
you.
no.
I'm gonna
I would like
let
to
you
start
take
this
the
one.
wheel on this.
Yeah, so I'll make this a bit of advice instead of describing the bad behavior, but if you are very, very, very bad at learning games, play with your friends that you came with. Do not randomly jump into a stranger's game. This happened to us, and it was excruciating. And just somebody who just could not conceive of the game, and this was not a heavy game, it was a lightweight game, and, Will discussed this in his other video, it should have been 40 minutes, and it was 90, and it was just it wasn't even analysis paralysis, it was trying to figure out the entire game every turn, like, not knowing what to do, and, it was just, like it was very odd, and I don't think this person was self-aware enough to take this advice, but as if you are the least bit self-aware and you know that you're really, really, really bad at learning games, don't just walk up to people who don't even have a players wanted sign up and say, "Hey, do you need other players?" So, I don't know, another grumpy old man comment, but it was
And it's
just
and I want to
bad.
try to be clear. It's not. Neither of us is recommending. Well, just don't ever ask to play a game. Neither of us
Sure.
is saying is trying to be a gatekeeper, even though we are a little gatekeeping here. We're not even trying to do that. It just was a moment of understanding what you can and can't. It's almost like with laughing earlier. Like understanding the effect that you're having on other people. And it just was frustrating for everybody. And also, I'd venture to say frustrating for them as well.
Seems like it.
Like that they just
Yeah.
couldn't understand this particular game. And so kind of what I said before, like it's okay just like, I don't get this.
Mhm.
I'm out. And that would have been fine for everybody involved. Now, I will say I did see them playing another game later and they were having a blast and the people they were playing with were having a grand old time. So it might have just been this one game that was a bad experience for everybody involved. But
See?
if you don't understand the thing, you can't figure it out, there is no shame in just backing off. And like you said, if that is your issue, like there's so many games that I struggle with, and I know that. Like I'm not gonna go up and try to jump into the historical war game. Like I'm not gonna do that because it's gonna be
Yeah.
a disaster. Because I'm not gonna. I don't get it. I don't understand, and I'm gonna be snarky about it, and I'll just start doing accents, and everyone's gonna be upset. Oh, that brings me to one
Okay.
more. And this is when you're teaching a game that you love. If you love it, you've probably played it a lot.
Mhm.
You're probably real good at it. If people show up to play your game, don't just wipe the floor with them. Like that is not fun for anybody. I mean, I would be fair. When we played Root, and I actually had a blast. I had a blast because I was role playing the lizard cult, and I think Matt had a good time. It's just he always loves Root playing, but the other
Mhm.
people at the table were just barely understanding this game and just getting smoked.
Mhm.
And like I don't understand that. Like I'm not saying throw the game. I'm not saying the guy should have done it, but he could have picked a faction for himself that was really hard to win with. But he picked the Trash Panda, which is the easiest one to win with. And like he just smoked everybody. So yeah, that's I think that's bad behavior too, because we want people to want to keep playing games. So if you're gonna
Yeah.
if you're gonna want to do the game that you love, and you're gonna just invite random people, handicap yourself in a way. Like try as hard as you can, but then make it hard for yourself. Don't make it easy for yourself. Or do like what we did with Last Light. And in the posting, I said, understand the rules before you show up. That was in the posting. And we had one person who didn't, but we were able to teach them quickly, and we
Mhm.
jumped right in. And I got my butt kicked, but at least it was an earned butt kicking. Harumph.
Same. Harumph. Yeah. So sorry for the grumpiness, everybody, if you're still here.
Yeah, and, Port Point, if that doesn't make you want to sponsor us, I don't know
We need
what
some
will.
happiness. Send beer.
That's right.
Uh, yeah, it was a fantastic con. It was a blast, and even those little grumpy experiences gave us stories to tell, and that's always good too. If you're just things in the moment, they were frustrating,
Yeah.
and so think of I don't know, act with empathy. Maybe that's the advice. Like if you're in a situation, you're around other people, think about how you're affecting other people. 'Cause I think most of these, the block in the hallway, the loud noise, the slowing down the game irrationally. That was another one that was just odd. But none of those folks were acting with empathy, and that's the biggest frustration of it all. So there, that's a little less grumpy old manish.
Yeah, that actually sounded adult. Um,
Darn,
you know,
I wasn't going for that far.
yeah, but
Yeah.
to
So
be clear, like we did have a great time, and I said the other day, I think
yes.
it was a fantastic con, and these are
Hmm.
small moments, but every con you go to, you run into these things, right? I mean,
Hmm.
y- always. So let's not do these things. I probably do all of them. Says the guy walked into the dealer hall and was taking video, moving around. I'm sure blocking everybody, but that
Yeah, but
that
you're an
was
important media
yeah,
figure.
yeah, that was for the
Oh,
people.
and yeah, one more. Don't forget the cheese on Will's nachos. It ruins the day.
Oh my! I cannot believe you, everybody. There is this Mexican place near the hotel, and the last DundraCon and the last Pacificon, which is at the same hotel, we've ordered nachos, and it's been the best nachos I've ever had. So we ordered these nachos the first night, And not only did mine not have the chorizo on there, it had no cheese. I had no cheese nachos.
Crime against nature. No cheese on nachos.
And then to rub it in, original Don sends me a picture and I said, "We're having nachos. I made the Will special." And he sent me a picture of cheeseless nachos.
That was just tonight. Had to do it while the wound was fresh.
Yeah, it's
So,
gaping.
and this was a DoorDash situation, so it's not where you can just go up to the counter and say, "Hey, could I have some cheese, please?" It's just done. You're gonna eat your cheeseless nachos and be satisfied.
Yep, I'm gonna start. We gotta start bringing my own cheese to the con, and one of those little like creme brulee torches, just to
Yeah,
be safe. Y-
absolutely. Gotta have one of those. It's an essential kitchen gadget.
Yep. All right, so everybody, that is our DundraCon recap and bad con behaviors. As always, if you wait a minute, you almost got away with it, Don. You almost got away with it.
No, no, this whole one was gaming words of
What?
wisdom.
No, 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 no. You hey, look,
And
just
and
because you blew your stuff early, it's not my problem. Don,
I already
what are
did
your
it. Act with empathy.
all right, Don's gaming words of wisdom, game with empathy.
Game with empathy.
All right. So, anyhow, as I was saying, everybody, if you enjoyed this episode, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. Make sure you buy a copy of Backyard Chickens if you haven't, because Don's got kids to put through college.
Yeah. And that'll do it.
Yeah. Anyhow, thank you all so very much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Right? You would have sounded like a cool godlike figure for the entire video.
Did you need to go manage your meat tub?
No.
And I'm
I
upset that you've
made
never invited me to join you in the meat tub. That sounds like a dream.
well, we just got it. I got all the stuff, including cheese sauce.